the Virtual Bowl Boys podcast. My name is Chris, and I am joined once again by my good friend Matt.
I'm going to start a sequel to the band ABBA and call it Bakukaboo.
What do I even say? I don't even know what to say to that. Could you spell that out for me, please?
BCCB.
Oh, okay.
It's a sequel to ABBA, so you go one letter later in the...
Okay, alright. I just need to make sure that whatever I have to make sure where the letters were. Because I swear I thought the B was an M at first, and that's why there was so much confusion that just went through my brain. I can't wait for your hit single, Singing Princess.
Roll the dice on me.
Papa Pia.
That was going to be the next thing I said.
Papa Pia.
Papa Pia. That sounds awful. I hate that.
Yeah. I can't. This is just...
It's happening again.
It's Papa Pia. It's happening
again.
I don't know why that just sent me, but I don't even know if I'm using the millennial lingo right, but I feel like it has sent me.
I think that's
the correct use of that term. All right. Well, welcome everyone. What a start to the week 7 or week 8 edition of the VB. Yeah,
yes.
That's it. Just VBB.
VB. The virtual boy.
The virtual boys. We're the virtual boys.
Virtual boys.
That actually doesn't sound like a terrible name for a podcast, but because we had to make sure that we told people, hey, it's sports.
Yeah.
We went with the ball boys.
Right.
There.
Also, virtual boys seems like you play an e-boy, and I don't know if I want that.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to.
I don't know if I want that association.
Yeah, we gotta be extra careful with the phrasing there. But welcome. So we are going to be doing our usual thing: week 7 recap, week 8 picks. We did week 3 of the VBBFL, which, by the way, re-listened to that. Really wish we had people in the chat because your volume was very low.
Well, was it
very
shit?
High.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna upload the VOD anyway to YouTube, and I will maybe see if I can fix the audio on that. Yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer when it came out. So it's not the best audio quality, but nonetheless, it was done, and we will give you the recap of that in this episode. And of course, this week is Halloween, and in honor of that, we're bringing zombies back into the fray, as we did last year around this time. It will be Dead Rising. It's going to be Dead Rising, the segment, not the game. But of course, that's why it's called that way, because we had to
sidetrack. Did you watch part 1 of the final HOH for Big Brother?
I did. I'm like, God, things were so much simpler back in the day.
Zombies, though. They're zombies.
Yeah, when they didn't have contestants, lie on the ground before starting a competition for
the camera
for production purposes.
Yeah.
What a show. All right. Anyways, week 7.
Free from it after tonight. Sorry.
No, yeah.
Put that out there.
No, hey, yeah. We're gonna be free from it, but it has been renewed. By the way, it was renewed.
Oh, of course.
Because it gets good ratings. It beats
it does.
It beats most summer shows.
It's good. It's gonna keep happening until it just becomes so unwatchable.
Even then, I don't know.
When it becomes unwatchable for the regular viewer, then we're talking.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see. It's almost there. I think we're reaching that point at this point.
Yeah.
If things keep on going
Absolutely.
in the direction they are. Week 7. What a crazy week. It absolutely insane week from hell, but in a good way. It's the
very,
good kind of
very
hell.
Fun way.
It's that nice layer of hell that somehow exists.
Unless you're a Bears or Falcons fan.
Well, yes. I mean, there was obviously, with any football week, there are winners and losers and disappointment and cheering all across the league. But nonetheless, those who just enjoy watching good football games, well, it was filled with it. Our game of the week is not the game of the week you would expect, because we're going to be talking about that a little bit in a little bit with our chaos pick. But our game of the week that we decided to land on, also just to not repeat the Titans back-to-back weeks, sorry, Titans, we will talk about you eventually, is the Browns at Bengals. A surprisingly good game, and what started out with Baker Mayfield going 0 for 5 and looking like the fourth best quarterback of the AFC North, and he may very well still be, but he had a terrible outing, and it became even worse when Odell Beckham Jr. went out with what we now know is a season-ending injury.
Sucks for him.
Sucks for him, definitely. But then, almost like the Beckham being out there had some sort of, was casting a curse upon the franchise, and him leaving all of a sudden has opened up the gates for the Browns to be successful. They began to reign offense supreme all over the Bengals, and neither defense was very good in the game, but overall, the Browns came through clutch in a big game, winning by a score, if I could find my
37-34.
Oh, thank you for pulling through that for me on that. I could not get to the page where I had the score on it. That's on okay. Time. But yeah, so yeah, 37-34. Yeah, it was. I only got to see snippets of the game, but overall, kind of what you would expect from a rivalry game like this. Joe Burrow continues to look competitive, even though basically nothing around him is functioning the way it should. And Baker Mayfield turned it around and basically had a perfect day after after the 0-5 start. So any thoughts that you can come out with from this game?
I think that, man, like, everyone was worried that Joe Burrow was going to be this type of career where, he's on the Bengals and he's going to play great, but he's not going to have the supporting cast around him. That's definitely true for this season. I hope that they can get another young star and do something in free agency, which they're not ever able to do.
Right.
To try to do something to help him out.
Yeah, no, it is kind of surreal because it seems like constantly the Bengals just refuse to make moves as a franchise.
Totally.
And they did do something today, though. At least when we were recording this today.
They did.
When they traded longtime defender Carlos Dunlap to the Seattle Seahawks, who probably will not play this week because of general COVID protocols they have to go through. But he is going to be a welcome addition to the Seattle Seahawks defense. We'll talk about the impacts on the Seahawks in a second. But they were not really using him a lot in Cincinnati, so it's not necessarily the biggest loss for them, but it's definitely a sign that maybe this could be a turning point for Cincinnati, that they're actually going to be active on the wire, unlike in past years when they would just sit on their hands during free agency and during the trade season and all that. I'm curious if they actually are going to actively try to do something.
Yeah, me too, because they have the ability. They have the personnel, definitely on their skill players on offense. That they need some more pieces, but they're almost there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we don't have really a trade segment in this episode, but this is the last episode prior to the trade deadline. Yeah. And so I'm curious, just about what's going to happen between now and then. And I think the Bengals are going to be one of those interesting teams to watch, along with the Cleveland Browns, because I think that generally, the Browns have shown that they could be competitive with almost any team, with the exception of teams that are just seem to be at the top of the league, like the Ravens and Steelers. Like they can be competitive with everyone and beat anyone, but the ones that you really do have to beat eventually in order to go anywhere.
Right.
So,
but you know what? You know what though? In terms of Browns history, this is fantastic news for them.
No, exactly. Like the fact that they can do it, that they can
And
compete.
they're 5-2. Like,
yeah. This is a big weekend for them because someone had a stat out there. I'm gonna forget who it was, but they said that a team that goes 6-2 has like an 81% chance of going to the playoffs, and they have the Raiders this weekend. That's not the worst opponent to have, and so there is an opening for Cleveland Browns to get to that point and hopefully not fall apart and kind of stay the course, and we'll see what happens with them. And they're going to need defensive help, and they might need another wide receiver to kind of fill in the void for Odell Beckham. I don't think the team is better without Odell. I do think, though, that it might not have as terrible of an impact as may expect if Odell goes out. And so, so I could see where maybe getting a wide receiver would be helpful, but they could also roll with who they have. Totally. All right. Next up, the blowout of the week. So this was our little fucko, which I still love. Fucko. I still enjoy very much. But it ended up going in the favor of the guarantee. The 49ers ended up taking the game and handily, absolutely obliterating.
You were terrified for me when I made this pick.
I was I was terrified for myself in this one. That was more. That wasn't. I wasn't because I was terrified in the sense of like, I feel like the Patriots. I will always have fear about the Patriots, probably until like Bill Belichick is gone. But I'm going to always have fear about the Patriots because I just think that this is a team that no matter they could have like bricks posing as football players and they would still figure out a way to make it like at least like a 30-23 game or something like but clearly that's not happening anymore, and so I have to put that aside. I have to tuck that away because that's no longer the case. And the fact that the 49ers, I felt like this team I felt like the 49ers could absolutely win this game. And the fact that you went with it, I thought it was a risky guarantee, just considering the history with the Patriots.
True.
But knowing what has happened in recent weeks, the Patriots have been one of the worst teams in football in the past 2 weeks. So, what was your reaction overall to this game?
I was shocked. I didn't think that they were going to lose by this much. I think that when it comes to Cam and the quarterback situation, the Patriots' best chance to win going forward is not with Jarrett Stidham. I know that Cam was benched for him late in the game. It didn't matter at that point. Cam being good is better than Jarrett Stidham. So that's what the Patriots need in order to get back in the playoff hunt. That sounds weird to say, back in the playoff hunt. But, it's not looking great for them overall, and I don't know where they go from here. They're also considering trading Stephon Gilmore, which would be a huge fucking deal.
That would be just a flat out like conceding to the season.
Yeah, that would be we're not trying anymore. Yeah. Let's get Trevor here.
Right. That could absolutely happen. Yeah. I think that if people who have seen those past 2 games and what the issue has been, it's been pretty much everything for the Patriots. It has been the defense not playing the way it should. Maybe 1 or 2 defenders, playing relatively well, but nothing really that is keeping it well enough, especially in this past game, to have the 49ers go up and down on them to go to 33 points. But the biggest issue is the offense, and I don't want to put it all on Cam because I do think he hasn't played well, and that is definitely on him. But I do also think that the issue that we've always seen with the Patriots, at least for the last few years when Tom Brady was still there, and also now making it really stand out, is that they don't really have much to work with on their offense.
They don't.
And they're Julian Edelman is not playing the way he should. Their tight ends are not like the new Gronk. None of them are stepping up the way that they could. It's the offensive line even which is I think has been one of the strongest units in the NFL for many years is not the unit that is not at all close to the unit that it had been, and it's been kind of awful this year. So just all around, this team is not performing well, and all of us are so used to saying, okay, Belichick is going to turn it around. Is he, though? Because I think that Bill Belichick is kind of part of the reason why they're in the situation as they are.
I sent you a tweet the other day. One of the hosts of the Fantasy Footballer sent out a tweet that said Bill Belichick is a system head coach.
Yeah,
because that was the shit that everyone kept talking about Tom Brady, and that seems to not be the case. So,
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, like that was. And I think that's what opens up that broad situation, because we can talk more detail about the Buccaneers Raiders. I don't necessarily need to, but
no.
the Bucs, the fact that they were up 45-20 and Tom Brady is playing as good as he has been over the years, that's and he has all these weapons around him too. Like, just the fact that he is playing as well as he has and the Patriots are not playing as well. There is, if you want to have that debate, which I think is kind of dumb, because I think that Tom Brady needed Bill Belichick and Belichick needed Tom Brady. I think they needed each other. But if we want to really have and parse that debate out, I think that Tom Brady is winning that debate right now, just because of how well he's performing in Tampa, how he actually has a team around him that's functioning well and has a ton of talent, versus a Patriots team that's kind of falling behind a little bit on that talent front.
If you think Tom Brady was on the Patriots this year, would the Patriots be a good team?
I feel like it would, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
I think that's just because of the Tom Brady Belichick tandem. I've always felt like that. Like, like last year they lost in the wild card round, but they still made it to the playoffs. They still won the division. I feel like as long as those two were together, that they were destined to do that. And so I don't know. I feel like it would. Tom Brady would be the better. This is no offense to Cam, but just based off of how the play has gone this year, I feel like Tom Brady would be the better quarterback in New England right now than Cam Newton. All things considered, but also the offensive line has been trashed. The wide receivers have not been good, and the defense is a lot.
The running backs haven't been good, and
right.
Special teams has been, I guess, normal.
Special teams. Well, yeah, it's like Matthew Slater around. Special teams is awesome.
Right. Or Johnny Hecker.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We talked a lot about the Patriots, but I do want to just note the 49ers, that they really looked in bad shape earlier this month, and they are turning around.
They got they're not as injured anymore. It feels good. Shanahan's good. They might get Tevin Coleman back. Is Tevin Coleman still on the fucking waivers in my one league? I need to check.
you gotta go pick him up.
Yeah, because I've been dealing with 49ers running back bullshit all season, because I drafted Mostert, and then Mostert was injured, so I picked up Jeff Wilson, and then I was like, I'm not going to play Jeff Wilson this week. It's probably going to be Jerick McKinnon, and so Jeff Wilson, with his performance, was on my fucking bench.
Oh, I see.
I still won, but,
Yeah.
Damn it, he's picked up. Okay.
Sorry.
So now, all my fucking players are on a bye this week, so I'm in trouble.
All right. Well, good. Best of luck to you for sorting that
Thanks.
out. I wish I could help. I can assist you as much as possible.
No, it's okay. I'm playing against other people who listen to the Footballers podcast, so they know shit about fantasy football, and that makes it so much harder.
Oh yeah.
When the rest of your league is good.
Oh yeah, that's you got that knowledge, and it's hard to compete against. And last game we wanted to make a highlight of the chaos of the week, and most likely, I know we didn't name it the game of the week, but it's certainly the game of the year: the Seahawks at Cardinals.
My God.
It started out the whole game was so strange. It felt a little back and forth-ish, even though the Seahawks were at one point up by 10 points.
They were up by 10 points. The Cardinals were never ahead until they scored the winning thing. Right.
So the score going into the half was 27-17.
Yeah.
And then a kind of quiet third quarter, the Cardinals pulled within 3 points, and then just chaos broke out. There was the there's so much to break down about the game. The big one being I don't know if I forget even when this happened, but Buda Baker picking off Russell Wilson and then running down the sideline, and then DK Metcalf coming in and like tackling him,
preventing the score.
Yeah, after just like chasing him down in just the most glorious way.
Oh my god.
That was probably like the highlight of the game. But there was just so much absolute batshit craziness that happened in the last last quarter alone. It started out with 2 interceptions that back to back. It was actually it was a Seahawks interception, and then the Cardinals, Kyler Murray immediately threw an interception, and then even though and then the Seahawks then went up by 10 again. To make it 34-24, and then the Cardinals responded. The Seahawks did horrible management on the fourth the fourth quarter. Just time management generally on their very last drive, and so they had to punt it. It was only like a 5-play 20-yard drive, and then the Zane Gonzalez comes out and gets the field goal. And so then the overtime happens. Starts out with a punt from the Seahawks because they just now are no longer getting any ground, and Russell Wilson's airmailing guys, and the defense is putting a lot of pressure on him. We rarely see sacks from Russell Wilson, and he did get a few, or did receive a few, I should say. And then it looks like the Cardinals are going to win the game. Zane Gonzalez misses the field goal. And then you're like, okay, so Seahawks are going to either win the game or tie it. And then after 7 plays, Russell Wilson throws another interception after like a quick pass. Like it looked like it was totally fine.
It felt like I think Wilson threw more interceptions in this game than he had thrown all season. That's what it felt like.
Well, it was 3 interceptions, and I would guess so. And then the field goal finally came through for Zane Gonzalez, was able to redeem himself. To win the game 37-34 in just an absolute chaotic game. But yeah, like that last interception blew my mind though, because I think the pressure was getting to the Seahawks and to Russell Wilson that he felt like he had to release the pass really quick. And so he went back and threw immediately. Clearly was not going to make it to the receiver. At the most, it was going to be an incomplete pass, but the Cardinals grabbed it in the air, and it was Isaiah Simmons that got the interception and took it back. And I was the whole time I was just sitting there like, what the fuck is happening? It was the most insane series of events. It was my favorite game all year. I wanted to get the recap out of the way. Just give me your general thoughts on the whole thing. Did you stay up for it?
Yeah, dude.
Wow, I was expecting a text from you too about that.
No, yeah, I should have. I don't know why I didn't. I think I took I took my laptop up and was streaming it on my laptop in bed because I was like, I gotta wake up early tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'm gonna watch it in bed, and I was like, holy shit, I cannot go to sleep yet.
Okay.
This game fucking rules.
Yeah, no, it was insane.
Yeah, and I was like, I love both of these teams. Like the Seahawks are my favorite team in the NFC right now to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they make every game interesting.
And chaotic.
And chaotic. And Russell Wilson is fantastic. I love Russell Wilson.
Yeah. And
the Cardinals, obviously I chose them as chaos, so I had stake in them to do that. Sure. I have Kyler and Hopkins on my failing fantasy team, and they're the only thing that even give me a fighting chance. And so like it was very much invested for me to watch it because I was like, I have a lot of fantasy stake in this game. I love both these teams, and then to also get my first chaos ride of the season, just mwah,
beautiful.
Love it,
beautiful. It just was the perfect, like, it was such a beautiful way to cap off the week, because it did, earlier today we had some great games. I mean, the Lions last minute touchdown.
Can we talk about the fact that the Falcons lost the game because they scored a touchdown?
Yeah, Todd Gurley falling into the end zone by accident, and the Lions defender signaling touchdown was the image of the Falcons season probably to date.
Oh my god, it was like I went up to tell my parents that had happened, and they looked at me like I was a crazy person. It's like, what do you mean they lost because they scored a touchdown?
Yeah. You just say it like that in no context. They lost because they scored a touchdown.
Falcons lost because they scored a touchdown. I then explained it, but I had to give that out first.
Right.
Just because of the absurdity of that. They lost because they scored a touchdown.
So what was... I'm trying to remember what the circumstances, how that all worked. What was the score
What the deal was, score was... Let me look. So the score was... It was 14-16. Lions are ahead. So 16-14 Lions. Right. If the Falcons come in, down the ball really close, and just run the clock out, kick a field goal, they win the game 17-16. But, Todd Gurley had to accidentally fall in the end zone.
I was wondering, it wasn't that the Falcons were in the lead necessarily.
No, they down the ball, they run the clock out, they kick the field goal, and they win.
Okay.
But because Todd Gurley scored the touchdown, it then went to they did the 2-point conversion, but then it went to 22-16. Falcons in the lead with a minute for Matthew Stafford to get down the field. Threw a touchdown TJ Hawkinson. It was 22-22, and then kicked the extra point for the Lions. It's good. Lions win.
Wow,
if Todd Gurley doesn't get in the end zone, the clock is down. They take the clock down and then kick a field goal and win.
Just absolutely absurd. And then then you had the Steelers-Titans game, which was the game of the week. Steelers kind of dominated the game, but the Titans did come back and
we're a field goal away.
They were a field goal away, but then
from overtime.
And Steven Gostkowski blew it like he did in week 1, and the Titans were back to square one. Losing their first game and the Steelers winning it. And then you have the Bills game that was surprisingly close, and with the Jets leading at one point by a solid amount.
Bills could only score field goals.
And there was 6 field goals overall that they got. The Saints had a nice win over the Panthers. That was a nice back and forth game. Washington blew out the Cowboys to basically solidify where Dallas is at this state of operations.
Bad. Who's a better team? Cowboys or the Giants?
That's a tough one.
Who's a better team? Cowboys or the Jets?
Oh, Cowboys! Everyone's better than the Jets right now.
Everyone's better than the Jets.
I know they were they played close with the. You know why the Jets played close with the Bills this week? Because they finally took play calling duties away from Adam Gase and gave it to another person. So that's why the Jets did something this week. Obviously, the Bills have their issues, and we could go into that probably around their game. But just saying, the Jets. That's why the Jets were successful this week. They're slowly stripping things away from Adam Gase in order to have some sort of success.
Does he have there's no way he has a coaching job next year, right?
Oh God, I hope not.
Because I feel like he's gonna get an OC thing somewhere.
He probably will, and it'll be at the recommendation of Peyton Manning.
Fuck.
Because that's how he's gotten every other job.
Yeah.
And then there's also the fact that, speaking of the Giants, like that, then we there was that really good game.
They were really. That was like one of these two teams is going to win the NFC East. It's probably going to be the Eagles, but
between the Eagles and Giants,
yeah.
Don't sleep on Washington. Don't sleep on Washington.
I mean, Washington is there, but
yeah,
it's probably going to be the Eagles.
The Eagles are the Eagles, and that was even though the Giants were up kind of big, the Eagles did come back and take care of business against a Giants defense that didn't hold up to standards, which is what we expect, and also an offense that just, although there's the Daniel Jones spill, that Jones has his athletic moments and then he falls flat on his face. I forgot that was this week.
That was beautiful. Oh my God.
Yeah. Just
he's never run that fast in his life. I guarantee you.
Well, again though, there's the one thing that you can hang on the hat of Daniel Jones is that he isn't an athletic player. He's just not very good. But
True.
he's athletic though, which is like he can apparently it was a faster run than any like Lamar Jackson run this year or something like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of absurd the rate of that speed of his speed on that. So yeah, a lot of chaos for week 7. Probably my favorite week of the season overall.
Loved it.
And we will see what happens in week 8. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, it's time to raise the dead.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, how this works, after week 3, we did a segment that we called Time's Up, which was basically we picked teams that we felt like their time was up, there's no way they're going to make the playoffs. However, we did say that eventually we were going to come back to these teams and just pick out a few that we do think have revived their seasons in some capacity, and that we think have a chance to make the playoffs, and so that we no longer want in the funeral yard, in the graveyard. I don't know why I said funeral yard, but you know what I mean. So let me just list the teams real quick, and then we can discuss and we can fill this out here. But ultimately, the goal is going to be to remove any teams that we think are back in the playoff conversation, and then put in teams in their place, because we can't leave any grave open. So we're going to put teams in their place that we think are definitely dead at this point. So
Cool.
Let me go ahead and list the teams here. It's the New York Jets, Denver Broncos, New York Giants, Minnesota Vikings, Cincinnati Bengals, Philadelphia Eagles, Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins, and the Washington Football Team. So, Matt, I'll give you the first choice here. What do you think?
I think that we need to unbury the Eagles.
Okay. I agree.
What? Yeah, okay.
But go ahead and give your reasoning.
So I think that they're the most competent team in the division right now, in the terrible division that it is. Carson Wentz is finally starting to play better. They're kind of getting healthier, kind of not. They should be getting Sanders and Goddard back soon, which will be a big help. And I see them winning the division. So I am fine with unburying the Eagles. Okay, and so the Eagles are resurrected, but now there's a hole in the ground, and we need another team to fill its space. Okay, can we unbury all the teams that we want to unbury first? Oh, do you want to do that first? I'd rather do that because just so like we can get that done and not have to. Okay, all right, that's fair. So then I'll go now. I'm going to go. I do want, like, I feel like we do want to focus a little bit on the NFC East because anything can happen, but I do want to shift my focus to the AFC East here, and I want to rescue the Miami Dolphins. Absolutely, because I think that they. I mean, we don't know what Tua is going to be like yet. Right. We will see. He might take an L or two out of the gate, but his Miami team has been competitive to this point. Has at least were more competitive at this point now compared to where they were back in after week 3 when we initially did this segment. So I think that Miami has a shot at not only making it to the playoffs as like a 7 seed, but potentially winning the division if the Bills struggle and the Patriots continue their face plant. Exactly the same reasons I had. They're not a soft defense anymore. So all right, so Dolphins are rescued. Any other teams in mind that you think of? Let's see. The only ones I could consider would be the Broncos or Washington. Or the Giants. I feel like the Giants I would consider as well. Giants, yeah, just because the division. Yeah. I feel like the Giants overall, for some reason, have a harder schedule, which is weird. I definitely agree with that. Yeah. The Giants, I think, still have to face like 3 of the AFC North teams. Ooh. Now they already dealt with the Steelers, but they do. Yeah. I think they have the Ravens still, the Bengals, and the Browns. I think. And then they got to deal with the rest of the NFC West. Right. Right. And Seahawks and Cardinals. But also Washington Football Team does have to deal with a lot of those teams too. True. Thoughts on the Broncos?
I'm after this weekend. I don't feel like I can resurrect them.
Okay.
Just because I really don't see a path for, just considering how many like I think that there's definitely 7 to 8 AFC teams that are better than the Broncos, and I think that alone will keep the Broncos buried at this point.
Okay,
Because I think the Chiefs and Raiders are going to be better than them. I think the Chargers are even better than them in some capacity.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll keep them buried. Do you want to unbury both of those NFC East teams then?
I'm down for that. I'm done.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So the NFC East for right now is completely resurrected, but we do have the Cowboys on deck potentially if we wanted to do that. All right. So we have 4 grave sites now.
Okay. I think Cowboys have to go in.
Okay. I'll put the Cowboys in.
Just because they can't play without Dak or healthy offensive linemen. They just traded away Everson Griffin. It feels like they're at the word thrown in the towel for the season.
Yeah, they actually released Dontari Poe and Darryl Worley. They're just sending away their defense because it hasn't been working. Maybe with what they have, maybe the defense starts playing well, but I just don't see that happening in the offense. I do not trust Ben DiNucci step in because Andy Dalton, of course, is on the concussion protocol.
I didn't even know who the new quarterback's name was until you just said it. So that's my confidence level.
I mean, and there's also Cooper Rush, who they just put on just brought back on the practice squad, who was a long time Cowboys backup, a long time, like 2 years, but whatever.
Yeah.
But so I'm with you. I think the Cowboys are right now. There's an argument to be said that they are the worst team in the NFC East, and I'm okay with putting him in this position.
Let's do it.
So Cowboys are buried.
See ya, boys.
All right, 3 more spots. Who do you want to put in? All right, actually, no. You said the Cowboys.
I just said the Cowboys. Who are you gonna put in?
We already have the Vikings here. I got it. I'm gonna go Falcons. I was
gonna say that if you didn't.
Because I don't see this team, especially in this division, rattling off 9 straight wins. And that's to keep them to get them to 10-6.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. They could be competitive, but I just don't see this team making it to the playoffs right now.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Send them in.
All right, Falcons are now buried.
Are the Jaguars buried yet?
Jaguars are buried. So we have two grave sites left open. The Jets, the Broncos, the Falcons, the Vikings, the Bengals, the Jaguars, and the Cowboys are who we have buried. So 2 more sites right now.
I don't know who else we can bury.
I'll propose another one.
Okay.
Texans.
Oh, Texans. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because I love Deshaun Watson's playing well, and that's about it. I think I don't think that's going to be enough. Plus, the Titans are in the division. I think the Colts are still relatively competitive in that division, and again, just the AFC as a whole. I think it's just going to be hard to come back in.
I agree with you on that.
I'll put that there.
So put the Texans in.
All right, now this is the hard one.
Yeah. Because I think the candidates would be the Lions.
I'm looking at
the Chargers
that won this weekend with the Lions and Chargers, and I'm also looking at one New England Patriots.
I mean, I feel like that would just be like cathartic for us if we buried the Patriots.
It would be, but I don't know. I feel like it's such a risk too.
Yeah, I don't think we can take that call.
Right.
Let me look at the rest of the Chargers schedule.
Yeah, no, this is worth evaluating a little bit because I feel like the Chargers have. I mean, they won against the Jaguars, but kind of barely.
Yeah. They have to play the Raiders twice, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Patriots, and the Broncos twice.
And the Chiefs once more, right?
And the Chiefs once more.
Yeah.
But they do get to play the Jets and the Falcons.
Okay, so that there's some hope there. I mean, I think that Justin Herbert has been playing very well, and they've lost kind of close games recently. So I
They
don't know.
have.
I feel like that could be some hope there. And
Compared
then
to
you
the
had
Lions, who get to face NFC South teams.
Right, and that's gonna be difficult. They still have all the NFC South teams except for the Falcons on the schedule, right?
Yeah, they have to play the Panthers, the Bucks, and the Saints, who are the hardest ones.
Okay.
No, they played the Saints.
They did play. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
3 weeks ago.
but then they have the AFC South where they have to face the Colts and the Titans, and then they have to face the Packers again and the Bears again.
Yeah.
But then they get Washington and the Texans and the Vikings twice.
Oh man, it's a toss up, man. So here's my thing. I think it's hard to. I don't want to bury anyone in the NFC East. I don't want to rebury anyone else in the NFC East right now, just because we did resurrect them, and also just the fact that I feel like that division's such a crapshoot that at least having one team that we declared dead is enough.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I think.
I think so. This is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
With the exception of the NFC East, each division has 2 playoff teams in it. Bears and Packers for the North, Seahawks and either 49ers or Rams or Cardinals, some combination of them, and then the Buccaneers and Saints in the South.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's 4 in the West, that's 2 in the South, that's 2 in the North, and 1 freebie in the East. I don't think there's enough spots for the Lions.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll bury the Lions then with that
Okay.
logic.
Cool.
All right. So there you go. Lions have been buried. I feel like we ended up resurrecting.
You have been buried.
We ended up resurrecting and burying more teams this year than last year, but I mean it makes sense though, just because of all the circumstances.
No, there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, it just has to kind of be this way, I think. So then just to recap, the Giants, Dolphins, Eagles, and Washington football team. Man, the Cowboys fans must hate us right now. We resurrected all of them and put the Cowboys, Falcons, Texans, and Lions in their graves. And we will see what happens from there.
Dun 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 dun. We're done.
All right. Next up. Last weekend, like we said, we played more of the VBBFL week 3. Week 4 will be not this Saturday, but next Saturday. I actually was able to schedule this out a little bit where we could keep on having this be every other Saturday. Cool. and have the season end right before the Super Bowl. So
yeah.
We're figuring it out where this is right now how we're playing. It functions well. But for now, we do want to recap week 3 for you. And Mr. Matt, you are slated to go first.
Starts off. So we had all divisional matchups this week, and we're going to start with Phoenix City at Perth Amboy. In a nice change of pace, Phoenix City scored early in the game with Steve throwing to the Enderman for a touchdown and Drybone scoring a 2-point conversion. But once again, the Phoenix's opponent outplayed them once again. The Privateers scored right after with a sneaky 50-yard catch and run from Sly Cooper. Cooper scored again after a nice drive from the Prince of Cosmos and maxed the me. The Prince of Cosmos also pulled out his classic Katamari play that rolled everyone and their mother into the end zone. Despite a late score from Piranha Plant, the Phoenixes fall 32-15 to the Perth Amboy Privateers. Spadow exploded at the end of the game, but we're told they will be suiting up for Week 4.
Next up, the Brain Nerd Paladins at Weatherford Sheriffs. The battle between Sheriffs and Paladins seemed close at first. Back-to-back touchdown catches from Tracer and Diddy Khan had each team tied at 7. Green Ninja then scores with his tongue flapping in the wind to have Brainerd go up 14-7. This is followed by a Samus throw to Crash to tie the game, and Faith Connors using Womp as a ramp to leap into the end zone to have Brainerd up 21-14 at the half. The second half, though, was a different story as the running backs took control of the Weatherford offense, moving the ball down the field with Wrecking Ball tying the game up, Alawi putting the Sheriffs ahead, and Samus running it in to put the Paladins to bed. Weatherford wins 34-28.
Next up was Escondido at Anaconda. This will forever be known as the Chaz McFreely game, but for all the wrong reasons. Ness runs it in for a touchdown to put the Artisans in the lead 7-0. McFreely attempts from the Mountaineers 20 to the end zone in the first quarter and is decked by Incineroar. This allows the Artisans to go ahead 14-0 thanks to Phone Guy. McFreely is benched for Captain Shepard, who runs a methodical drive that ends with an all-run touchdown to cut the lead in half. The game is back and forth for the rest of the half. In the third quarter, McFreely runs out against his coach's wishes to take the snap at quarterback and tries to run the ball again, only for Incineroar to stop him again. Asgore and Mennonite connect on a big play to put the Artisans up 28-14, and despite a nice comeback effort by Anaconda, they are hampered once again by Chaz McFreely's inability to be a teammate. Escondido wins 35-21.
And finally, the marquee matchup of the weekend. The East Chicago Blacksmiths at Mansfield Weavers. Defenses reign supreme in a game featuring the Mansfield Weavers yet again, but they finally met their match. Pitt flew around defenders as Robin threw a perfect pass to the Angel for a touchdown. Mansfield responded with a touchdown one drive later as Mario throws it to Sonic for a speedy run down the sideline, with Atreus capping it off for a touchdown. Because of Bayonetta's missed extra point, Mansfield did lead at one point 7-6. But then, Robin delivers another pass to Sable, who is able to dodge the tough Mansfield defense for a touchdown. The Weavers could not respond, even with Mario using a Power Star, and the Blacksmiths took down the undefeated Weavers 13-7. And that is your VBBFL Week 3 recap.
Exciting matchups. Only one undefeated team left in Perth Amboy, too.
Yeah, Perth Amboy stands alone. I will say, because I write these up before we do the podcast, I realized that I had you say once again twice in the same sentence, and I apologize about that. I need to be better as a writer.
If it helps, I didn't notice.
Yeah, it's all good. I noticed it because I heard you say, I was like, oh damn, he said once again twice. He said once again. But no, it was a great set of matchups. None of them ended up ending. When you watched the stream, none of them actually ended in like last second, plays or anything like that. So none of these games were necessarily close near the end. But yeah, it was all still relatively interesting across the board, and I'm fascinated to see the storylines for me. How long can Perth Amboy stay undefeated? How long will it take for Phoenix City or Anaconda to get a win? I know they will face each other at one point, so we know that at least one of them will have one win this season.
And I'm excited to see the Chaz McFreely and Incineroar rivalry bloom throughout the season. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do have one more matchup between Escondido and Anaconda coming up in the coming weeks at some point. So we're definitely excited to see how that kind of boils over. Yeah, a lot of fun, and we will let you guys know next week when we are going to be going live with week 4. Stay tuned by following us at Virtual Ball Boys, and of course listening to the podcast. All right, week 8. Oh boy, man, we're nearing it. Halfway point. Yeah. Our week 10 podcast will be our updated Super Bowl playoff predictions. So 2 weeks away from that, I'm terrified. Yeah. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do.
I don't know either. That is the furthest. There's a lot of things on my mind for various reasons that I'm sure some in the world will know and some in the world don't. But I'm one thing that is definitely going to keep me awake at night is going to be the Super Bowl picks. How the hell are we going to pick the Super Bowl pick? Last week, as a recap, we had a big old chunko matchup for all of us. We had 5 disagreements overall. It was going to be 6, but ultimately Julio Jones did end up playing in the game between the Lions and the Falcons. So Matt stuck with the Falcons, as did I, much to our detriment, but that's beside the point. 5 games played, 3 games in which Matt got it right, 2 games in which I got it right. And so I do fall behind, but not by much. The final record for this week was Matt got 10-4. He got his Team Chaos right, as we discussed earlier, for the first time, and got his guarantee, so he got that point. So that is 7 points on his record now. And I am 9-5. Got my guarantee, did not get my Team Chaos. This is the first time at all the season that I had a
normal week.
Yeah, a normal week where I either win both or lose both. So this is the first time that it was normal across the board. So and ultimately only getting 4 points out of that. So what's your record right now, Matt? What are you looking
So
at?
my record currently is 69. Nice. 35 point total 34.
Yeah, and I'm sitting at 66-38. And because of those dreaded wrong guarantees, I'm sitting at 26 points instead of 28 points because of 2 extra minuses. So to 24 and 26, an 8-point lead. So you should be able to keep that for at least a few weeks, if not more.
Let's hope.
Think.
Let's hope.
let's hope.
I hope at least.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just clear my notepad here. If you would like to start by talking about the Thursday Night Football matchup.
Thursday Night Football is a matchup between the NFC South opponents of Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers, both coming off of a loss. Close losses. 2 very different feelings about those losses, though. Who do you have in the matchup?
This was a tough one. I think that this could be a close matchup overall, but I still like the Panthers. I like how they've been playing, and I know that they've lost their last 2 games, but overall, I don't think the Falcons are going to be able to deliver enough pressure to really turn this offensive line upside down for the Panthers. I mean, the offensive line hasn't been great for Carolina, but I do think that Teddy Bridgewater will still be able to play well, and I think the defense will do enough to stop the Falcons from doing much else. So I'm going Panthers here.
I'm going Panthers as well. I really like them in this matchup. I think that they're overall a better team than the Lions, and I think that they are able to be competitive with a lot of teams in the league.
You mean Falcons, right?
No, Panthers.
No. You said you think the Panthers are gonna be a better team than the Lions.
Panthers are better than the Lions,
but it's
which
the
means
Falcons
they're going
facing.
Yes, comparing them to last week.
Okay.
Which the
I was so confused by that segue.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I was like, they're not facing the Lions though. I get what you mean.
They're better than the Lions, and the Lions beat the Falcons. So
yes, I did. I was not following that line of logic. I apologize.
Apologies.
Apologies all around. All right. Next up, the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. The Patriots, of course, coming off of back-to-back losses and not really looking like they're gaining much momentum. But the Bills, of course, also coming off of their first win in a while, but in probably excruciating fashion because it was only field goals that they were able to score. This is the opportunity for the Bills to finally put their biggest kryptonite to bed. What do you think is going to happen?
Even though they've been on a slide, I still think that the Bills are the better team. They're at home. Not that that's mattered against the Patriots in the past, but this isn't the Patriots of the past. I'm gonna stick with the Bills.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Bills as well. I dread this game for the Bills. I hope it has been such a kryptonite for them. They constantly, it is very rare for the Bills to beat the Patriots. It's only happened a few times. I think it's only happened once since I started watching football, and that was back in 2014. So this is a must win for the Bills. But I think they're going to do it. So, and it's also just because the Patriots are just a worse team right now.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans coming off their first loss of the season against the Cincinnati Bengals, who feel like a team that is better than 1-5-1, yet here we are.
Yeah, I gotta go Titans here. I think that they bounce back. I think what did show up in the Steelers game, even though it did feel like the Steelers kind of handled that game well, was that it is hard to stop this Titans offense. I mean, they were able to stop Derrick Henry, but Ryan Tannehill still had a pretty decent game, especially in the second half. And I just, the Bengals have such a bad defense. It's hard for me to see them stopping them. And it might be a shootout because the Titans defense is also struggling. But I think the Titans just have the better unit overall.
I agree. I'm going to go with the Titans here.
Perfect. All right, next up, the Las Vegas Raiders visit the Cleveland Browns. Raiders coming off of the blowout loss to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. The Cleveland Browns coming off of their close but nice victory over the Cincinnati Bengals overall. An interesting matchup. What do you think is going to happen?
This was kind of one of the hardest ones for me to pick. I'm not doing my risky lock this week on this one, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
The Raiders' defense is really bad at stopping runs, and the Browns are really good at doing runs. And Baker is playing well, so I think that all of that is going to go in the Browns' favor. I still like the Raiders a lot and definitely see how they can win this. I'm going to go with the Browns, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going Browns. It's a tough matchup because I do think that the Raiders' offense, their advantage can be over the Browns' defense, which again has not been as good as of late. But I think this is going to overall. This is another game that I think could be a shootout. But I do think that the Browns are going to have the advantage here because I think the one player that I can trust the most in this matchup is, in terms of like their defense, is Myles Garrett, and so I think that's going to be enough to have the Raiders. And plus, the Raiders are on the road, and I always lean toward, in a close game. I always lean towards the home team. So
yeah. Indianapolis Colts coming off of their bye week. Face the Detroit Lions, who come off of a what the fuck just happened win. Who do you have in this matchup?
Yeah, it's going to go against my grain of usually picking teams that are coming off buys, but there is something about the Lions that I feel like is just very intriguing, and the Colts have just been so weird. Their offense hasn't really been that good. Their defense has, but it hasn't necessarily been like a top 10 defense. I guess it is, but like it's not.
It absolutely is.
But it's not. But it isn't as good as like a lot of the other defenses in the league that are considered top tier. Like it's like maybe like it's like second half of the top 10, which is still, it is good. But regardless, I sit here and I think that the Lions are going to have a competitive game. And I think that they're going to be. I think that they can win this game. I feel so confident about it that I'm going to team chaos them in this game. Because I think that the Lions overall, like they definitely had some struggles against the Falcons, which obviously it's the Falcons and you shouldn't be struggling against them. But I think overall their offense is going to be able to overcome the Colts defense, and the Colts offense just hasn't been barely good the past few weeks, and I think that could be where the Colts really slow down.
I'll disagree with you. I think that coming off the bye, they're gonna maybe figure some shit out, get Jonathan Taylor going again, figure out some passing stuff, and their defense is really solid. So while I think the game will be close, I'm still gonna take the Colts.
Okay.
By the way, I saw the worst trade proposal on Twitter the other day. Someone was suggesting, the Patriots are having quarterback issues. How about they trade Stephon Gilmore to the Colts for Phillip Rivers and have Phillip Rivers be on the Patriots, which like defeats the whole purpose for both of the teams.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. There's
it's
a lot.
It's really bad.
Yeah. I think not to say that Phillip Rivers, I think like Phillip Rivers he's been all right. He hasn't been terrible, but again, like part of the reason why he's even been successful this year is because the Colts have a pretty decent offensive line.
Totally.
And to go to the New England Patriots with how bad that offensive line has been lately, I don't know. No.
Sports Twitter is dumb. Let's move on.
Yeah. The Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. So this was a game that I think most people would have looked forward to if the Vikings and Packers were vying for the top top spot in the NFC North. But the Vikings have been shit. But they are coming off of a bye. What do you think is going to happen in this one?
The Packers are going to win the game, Chris. That's what's going to happen.
All right, I agree. I'm going Packers.
No need to talk about it anymore. Speaking of games, the New York Jets come into this game with a 20-point differential against Kansas City Chiefs. It's in Arrowhead.
There is almost no green on the New York Jets bar on the Pigskin Pick'em website on the ESPN.
It is incredible how low that green is.
It is very low. So I'm going with the Jets.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm going with the Chiefs. There's no question about it.
So you think that like this type of game would be the one where like, okay, the Chiefs get out a few scores and then they just kind of like they just sit and deal because what the hell are the Jets even going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I think that the way that the Chiefs play, they're going to just like play their version of normal football just to do it, and it's going to be 40 to nothing by the end of the game.
The way that you started, I was actually scared that you were going to actually make this your team chaos.
Why would I do that?
Yeah,
why would I do that?
Yeah, I like knowing who you are. I was just like, there's
knowing
no way
who I am.
Knowing how much you share on the Jets this year, and like I would be stunned. I would have been stunned to see you actually pull this one out. But
yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm picking the Chiefs.
Yes, very nice, very nice.
20-point favorites. The Chiefs are.
That's wild. The Los Angeles Rams at the Miami Dolphins. It's Tua time, baby. This is going to be a big game for Tua, having to go against the Rams and Aaron Donald. This could be a hard matchup for Tua to win, just considering how the Rams have been playing relatively well lately. But what do you think is going to happen, Matt?
Stranger things have happened in the NFL.
Aha.
And I'm going to team cast the Dolphins because I really like the Dolphins defense. And even though this is going to be Tua's first start, it's not going to be great for him against Aaron Donald. But I have this feeling that with how much I like Flores and how much I like how the Dolphins have been coached, I don't feel like they would put Tua in unless they were confident about it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna team cast the Dolphins.
Dude, this was the close. I came very close to picking this one. I think just the only thing that is stopping me is Aaron Donald. He scares me. He's a scary defender to face. I feel like if he entered the room, I'd just be scared that he's gonna bring me down because he just brings everyone down. I think that the Dolphins absolutely could win this game, but that is the only hang up for me I feel like the Rams defense might take care of a rookie quarterback in his first start. And that's the only hang up for me though. So
just I live for the chaos.
No, that's the best kind of chaos right there. I like it.
Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, undefeated, the final undefeated team in the NFL, taking on their division rivals, the Baltimore Ravens, one of the best rivalries in the NFL. I am upset that I am not getting it, and instead I have to watch the fucking Lions-Colts game.
Oh, that's gross. How did that happen?
Because I'm close to both Detroit and Indianapolis, I guess.
Yeah, that's rough. That's
yeah.
rough.
What do you got for the matchup?
This is just, I think that the divisional rivalry for the Steelers and Ravens, like you said, is one of the best in the league because you throw out everything. And I just think that the Steelers are destined to finally lose a game. And I know this could have been considered team chaos, but the Ravens are favored in this game, so I didn't really feel good enough picking it in that way. So I'm just gonna pick the Ravens straight up and just call it a day. I know the Ravens overall, like the offense is kind of struggling. Lamar Jackson's not playing amazing, but they are coming off of a bye, and that defense is very good for the Ravens. It's not maybe as good as the Steelers, but it is very good, and I think they could slow down the Steelers overall.
Do they get Yannick Ngakoue this week?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, I'm picking the Ravens.
Okay.
I am. I want to see this team get good again. Steelers feel like are really good, but as you said, destined for a loss kind of soon. Kind of the same logic why I picked against the Seahawks last week.
Yeah.
I don't have this is not an anti-Steelers pick. It's just a pro-Ravens pick, so I'm going with the Ravens.
Yeah, no, I think the thing about the Steelers is that I think that they are rightfully considered the best in the league right now. I think that they have earned that title for sure. But I don't think that they're like these world beaters where they're unstoppable. I felt like there was times where the Titans even showed that they were a little stoppable.
Yeah.
So I think that the Steelers, I could see where the Steelers fall in this game, and it's in Baltimore. Again, I think this is going to be the best defense that the Steelers have faced to this point. I just think that the cards are stacked a little against them, which is why the Ravens are favored in this game. So,
totally.
That's where I'm at. Next up, the Los Angeles Chargers at the Denver Broncos. This is a kind of like bottom half of the AFC West battle, but the Chargers are playing relatively well with Justin Herbert. They just got their first win since week 1 to go up to 2-4. The Broncos, after beating the Patriots, again got their asses handed to them in the snow against the Chiefs. But what do you think is going to happen in this close matchup?
I feel really good about the Chargers as a whole, and Broncos are not so much. I don't feel very good about. I'm gonna stick with the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Yep.
I'm going Chargers. I love Justin Herbert, dude. He's playing so well, and
he really is.
I feel like he's even playing better than Joe Burrow at times, and
yeah.
It's just and.
He does have a better cast around him, to be fair, but
no, of course, and I completely recognize that. But it is impressive to see that, once again, like a situation where Tyrod Taylor was chosen to be the quarterback for presumably the season, and then ultimately something happens to him and the rookie quarterback steps in and plays well, like he did. The same thing happened in Cleveland, and now It's repeated in Los Angeles. And clearly, we now look back at that and we're like, maybe the rookie should have started from the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe you could consider that.
Maybe consider a bit.
Yeah, no, but Chargers gonna win.
Cool. The New Orleans Saints take on the Chicago Bears. Bears coming off of a pathetic offensive performance, just awful. Saints coming off of a bye. No, they played the Panthers last week. Close win against the Panthers. They may not have Michael Thomas, though, so does that sway your opinion on this game?
What in the hell is happening to Michael Thomas?
I don't know. Like out with an injury, then discipline problems, and then that disciplinary problem led to an injury. Or something.
Yeah, that's very strange. I think that as it stands right now, the Saints are not like the top tier team as they were, but I think that they can't take care of business here. I think that there's starting to have a little bit of drama with the Bears when it comes to the offensive area. Like, it just seems like there's now miscommunication between the quarterback and the coach on certain things.
Yep.
And I think I still love the Saints' defense. I think their front is playing great. Not so much their secondary. Their secondary has kind of dropped off, but their front seven is still pretty solid. And I think that they've been able to kind of have a stable offense even without Michael Thomas. So I think whether or not he's in, I'm picking the Saints.
I'm picking the Saints as well because kind of all the same reasons. Michael Thomas might be out. Bears might not have Allen Robinson because of concussion protocol.
Yes, I saw that today. Yep.
Yeah, and it is it's not looking good for the Bears on any front. And this is going to be my saddest guarantee of the entire season.
Oh man, I would not. You're gonna get it right because you just been kicking ass with the guarantee. I would have. Because I feel like the Bears could absolutely win this game, but I hear you though. I hear you that it makes sense though, because it's just like this we've been expecting a downfall from the Bears a little bit for some time now, even though they have had, granted, a very good defense, but it's I feel
You
like
can
it's
only
bound
do
to
you can
happen.
only do so much with it. You have to score points too.
Right. Exactly.
And I feel like we're gonna have a similar situation to what happened against the Colts and the Rams against this team.
No, yeah.
So,
No, I completely understand that, and I agree. The Saints are the Saints seem like the prime pick. I just this you could put me on the record for this one, be worried for you for this, but I do also trust your guarantee acumen at this point.
I don't know how I'm doing this.
You're doing well. You've only got one wrong this far. So
yeah, it was Houston.
So you're in good shape. The San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. This is a great game in the making here, as the 49ers are on an upswing, won back-to-back games, beat the Rams, beat the Patriots, but now have their toughest battle against the Seattle Seahawks. But of course, the Seattle Seahawks got their first loss of the year here, against the Arizona Cardinals. This is going to be a chaotic game just because the Seahawks are a part of it, but who ends up on top?
I'm not gonna pick against the Seahawks again. Seahawks, let's go.
Okay,
Let's do it.
I'm surprised. I thought you would go Niners here, but I am also going Seahawks because I think that they can bounce back. This is a team that I think this is how good their offense is. I think it will be solid, and nothing against the Rams necessarily, but the Rams offense hasn't been that amazing this year. At least in the last few weeks, like even against the Bears, they weren't really like that much world beaters, and against the 49ers, they weren't that great. And then the same with the against the Patriots. Like, I feel like this is going to be the hardest offense the 49ers have faced, and I think that some issues will kind of resurface for them, that they're going to miss some of their defenders that they are missing right now. So I'm going Seahawks as well.
Cool. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, God, this is Sunday night. Fuck.
Oh, Sunday night.
Oh, Sunday night. Okay, Chris, what do you like better? The I don't know how you would describe it, but the texture that's on the Sunday night logos, that's kind of like metallic-y and like looks like it has a nice feel to it, or like the gummy ones of Monday night. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. Do you mean like, are you talking like the text? Because I feel like both logos.
The texture of how the logos look. Because I think I prefer Sunday night. I like the hexagonal patterns going on.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I have to. I'm gonna have to sit down and study them. I think I completely. But I hear what you mean. Like, it is a little like.
They add some style to them.
It's a little like chibi, like a little bit to me with the
for Monday night. Yeah,
Monday night, just a bit.
Yeah.
Especially, oh my God, did you? I sent you the Nick Foles graphic package for the Monday Night Football. Oh God, ESPN's the best with that. It just because it's so bizarre. It's the most bizarre shit that they come up with to describe like situations. And it's like
jerk off a carousel. All right,
yeah, Dr. Seuss shit. It's amazing. Anyway,
Cowboys or Eagles?
I mean, we talked about it already. We think that the Cowboys are the worst in the NFC East. I think the Eagles are the best in the NFC East right now by like a slight edge.
Yeah.
And I feel so confident about this game. I'm guaranteeing it.
I was wondering where that was.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Eagles. I'm picking the Eagles too. Carson Wentz is actually playing well. They're getting a little bit healthier. The Cowboys have no one.
They don't have a soul. And speaking of no soul, the New York Giants are hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this reminds me so much of last year. Was it? Yes, it was last year. Thursday Night Football between the Giants and Patriots, and me going into it being like, oh my God, the Patriots are going to just completely Shrek the fucking Giants, like just completely annihilate them. But the Patriots actually, the Giants ended up playing close in that game, maybe until like the very end. So do we think that against Tom Brady once again that the Giants will at the very least keep it close?
No.
Okay, cool. Same here. I agree.
I mean, the Buccaneers just signed an NFL football player. I don't think he's playing in this game. I think he has to wait a couple games before he can play.
Yes.
And then, but in general, Tom Brady's just been playing super well. The Buccaneers defense fucking rules, and the Giants aren't going to be able to do anything against them.
Yeah, nah, I'm with you. So I'm going Tampa Bay. So just because it's been a bit since we've enacted this where we're standing on things, and just because it has been kind of news this week, and we might as well just clarify some things here.
NFL football player has been signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
So there has been a player signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that you and I are very sick of generally, and kind of consistently with the just his what he did with the Raiders and how it completely fell apart when his feet got frozen and then he tried to punch the general manager.
And then, all the domestic abuse stuff.
Right, the domestic abuse stuff then came out, the sexual assault allegations, the filming of domestic disputes between him and his partner in front of the children, and just the overall showmanship of potentially going I'm going to retire from the NFL, thanks for everything, and then a minute later just being like, I can't wait to sign with a team. We decided to no longer name him. Because
he's NFL football player from here on out.
Yeah, just like how it's the Washington football team. Yeah. He is the NFL football player. And so that's how that's our way of protesting. We can watch the Buccaneers and like the Buccaneers without acknowledging his presence.
Yeah.
And I think that works out. That's just basically how we did it with Washington for so many years.
It's fine.
It is bullshit though, and I hope that part of me hopes it doesn't succeed for him.
I really hope it's a crash and burn situation.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Buccaneers is still going to win the game though.
Yes, no, Buccaneers are going to take care of business. He's not playing this week. He's going to be playing the following week.
Yeah.
So good for NFL football player, I guess. Anyways.
All right. Is that two disagreements?
That's only two disagreements, and it's both Team Chaoses.
Yeah.
So
pretty chalk.
A tame week compared to the previous few we've had, where we've had a ton of disagreements. So this is a lot more calm week. I think if all hell breaks loose for you this week, I still don't think I'm gonna be able to catch up because of that. So you should be sitting pretty, should be relaxing. We almost had all the same picks though, because I almost went Team Chaos with the Dolphins.
That would have been hilarious.
And we've just had no movement. But I like that. I like that I deferred on it, went with the Lions instead, because I looked at the rest of the map, and I just think the Lions are the more are the next most likely team to win, in an upset fashion. So.
Cool.
Yeah, very nice, guys.
Quick plug if you listen to this and not our other stuff. Walsh and I, one of our other hosts, recorded a special episode of Table Party the other night that is really fucking good. I'm very happy with how it ended up. It's kind of like a Halloween special type deal. He DM'd and I was the only player, so that was an interesting experience. That should go up within the next couple days. Check out the Table Party feed for that. Just wanted to plug that real quick right here.
Yeah, and actually, while we're on that, we have the other two podcasts also had events this week, because the Gaming Coop came out with its third episode ever. It was our Halloween episode where we kind of talked about games that are related to Halloween and horror, but not quite horror games.
And then it ended up being existential crises.
Yeah, that's basically just us talking about life being scary as a whole. And then Dog of Shame on Sunday came out, and with a special guest.
Yeah, we had Walsh got a cameo from Troyzan, Survivor player, who did our last time on intro for us, and that was super cool of him. I was shocked. You can hear my wonderful reaction on that episode.
Yeah, no, he was great, and it was the most. I don't expect a lot of these cameos to be very enthusiastic. He was extremely enthusiastic.
Oh yeah,
which was maybe an understatement.
Love
but
doing
it was
these.
Great. And the fact that he knew what total drama was,
that made it so much better.
Yeah, that was excellent. That
at
was so good.
At least not just like he didn't have to like watch it, but just the fact that like he knew what it was.
He started to singing the theme song.
The theme song.
Of the video. Like barely though. Like he didn't really know it, but still.
He got the "I want to be famous" part. That's all you need.
That's the gist of it. But yeah, no, wild week for TCP as a whole. So we hope you catch up on all those podcasts. And yeah, things are gonna get scary. I mean, in the world, and I know that people are a little stressed out right now. This is gonna be our last episode before Election Day. Please, if you haven't voted yet and you do have your ballot, please don't mail it at this point.
Go drop it off.
Find a drop-off box and make sure that it's a legit drop-off box. Because we see some games that people are playing. Make sure it's a legit drop-off box approved by your county.
And please vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah, please vote for Joe Biden. That's the other part.
Yep.
And just like I understand people are upset about the world and that they may feel like the election's not going to do much, and I get there is a big chunk of me that gets that completely, and I know that there's other things that we need to do to be better as a society, but
the election isn't the only thing you should do. It's part of something that you should do.
Exactly. It's a big part. So
yeah,
vote down ballot, vote for a bunch of elections that don't get the attention. I know that for me locally, I have one of my U.S. representatives that is retiring, and so we have a moment where we can flip the seat or keep the seat the same or whatever. We have a moment where we can really make a statement in this election that is not getting talked about at all by at least national TV.
Because I think I think the House is pretty set.
Well,
to still be blue, but
no, I recognize that, but it's still like people who aren't really paying attention won't know about it, and so make sure you do your research. Go into the area. Go do your research. Go to like if you haven't voted yet, of course. Like go read up on the local races. Find out about them. Find out about the views and vote accordingly. But please, all I ask is that you just vote with your heart in this one. Vote with the fact that like what's gonna be the best for everyone, not just yourself. That's all I ask. Let's put selfishness aside and let's vote for things that's gonna be good for everyone. For the love of God, please.
Well said. Well said.
But with that all being said, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Good night and good ball. Virtual Ball Boys has been brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Find us on Twitter at Virtual Ball Boys and find more of our work at Team Chaos Pods.